This video is relevant to parents and children at Dunbury Church of England Academy. This is their reading journal, which goes in their school bag, so it goes home every day and comes back to school every day, and it's a record of how frequently your child is reading. The first page gives some advice to parents on how to help their children read. The second page gives some children some advice about how to enjoy texts. And then we get on to the reading record pages where we record what the children have read. And all we need you to do each day you hear them read is ask your child to write the date and the name of the book that they read and the page number they got to, and we just need you to initial that they have done that, please. Then on the following day, obviously, you'd write the next date. There's no need to write the book again the following day, just the page number is fine, and then initial. It's these initials that are really important because that confirms for us that your child is reading frequently. And also your child gets rewarded for that every time they have an initial in the book, they get a house point. So as the minimum requirements, that's what we need you to do, please. But on top of that, if you have a bit more time, writing a comment about how your child read is extremely helpful. And you can tell us things like whether your child's enjoying the book or not, whether it's too easy, whether it's too hard, or anything in particular your child is struggling with at the moment. We do read all of the comments. We don't always write replies. As you can imagine, there's 30 children in the class and it would take half an hour to write replies for everybody, and a teacher's time is best spent teaching, but we certainly do read everything and it's very helpful information for us. Just going back to the instruction page, so reading for at least 5 minutes every day is very, very important. It's short, frequent practice that makes the biggest difference overall. Now, if your child is still at the stage where they're learning how to read sounds and words, then getting them to read out loud to you is a brilliant way of helping them to improve. As you can imagine, in a classroom situation, we would teach reading in groups, whereas at home, they get you all to themselves, and so it's a really good opportunity for them to improve their reading one-to-one with an adult. If they're quite fluent in their reading, then they could read quietly to themselves and develop their independent skills and enjoyment of reading that way. But as well as hearing your child read, also reading books to them or with them is an extremely effective way of helping them to improve their reading. Because reading isn't just about decoding the words on the page and figuring out what they say, it's also about understanding what you read and enjoying the text and interacting with the text. And so by reading more advanced texts to your children that they wouldn't normally be able to read on their own, then you're opening up a whole new world of literature and rich vocabulary and all sorts of wonderful things for them to enjoy and give them a real love of reading. The first thing that you really need to make sure is that your child actually wants to read, they really love to read, and that's a good way of inspiring them to do that. But of course, reading isn't just about reading words on the page, it's about comprehension, and that's what this section is all about. And especially the tests at the end of Year 6, they test reading comprehension, they don't test how well children can actually read the words themselves. So this is what they're really going to need to be able to do. So when you're reading with or to your child, it's always useful to make sure they've understood all of the words that they have read. And if they haven't, make sure you clarify any words they don't understand. Maybe you look them up in a dictionary. Also get your child to ask questions about what they've read, because that makes them really think about what they've seen. Also, asking your child to summarise what they have read is a very, very helpful skill, and quite a difficult skill at first for a child to do, but once they've practiced it a little bit and they've been shown how to do it, they do get really good at this, and that's something in particular which is tested a lot at the end of Year 6. And finally, get them to predict what's going to happen next, and skills of prediction, where you have to really think about the text, read between the lines, use inference and deduction to think what's going to happen next. It's a very advanced reading skill, and again something which they'll need to be able to do in Year 6 and will be tested on. The advice for the children just says things like they need to be able to read every day, read lots of different types of text. There's no good just sticking to one type of text. To develop a love of reading, you need to look at all sorts of things. And they don't just have to read on their own, they can read to friends or to older people, brothers and sisters, all that kind of thing. Now at the back of the page, for those children that really, really love reading and want to develop their enjoyment of books even further, we do have an ideas page of some extra homework tasks they could do, and if children do these, they always get heavily rewarded with lots of house points. For instance, they could write poetry about what they've read, or do some descriptive work, or write about the authors. And there's also a helpful little checklist at the back which should make sure that your child is reading a whole range of different types of books and not just sticking to one type of genre all of the time. There's also an information sheet here at the back which explains to you how we teach reading in schools, and it really hammers home the point that we do teach reading in groups, and so as well as that teaching that we give them in the classroom, it's of extreme benefit to children that get one-to-one support as well. We do have parents and teaching assistants which listen to children one-to-one, particularly those children that are still struggling to read the words on the page, but obviously the more help they get from home one-to-one, the better progress they will make. That is your child's reading journal. I hope you found it useful.